All right, we're here. So I saw pre-release Dragonlance stuff coming out tomorrow.
Who are you?
Look, we always do some sort of an intro where we talk about stuff, and then we always come back and tell who we are.
I don't know
Uh,
who you are.
well, that's fine. I am the Grumpy Dungeon Master Jay.
And I am Grumpy Dungeon Master Christopher.
No. If we're talking Dragonlance or other stuff like that, we gotta get more pep in your step, man. Go get you some caffeine.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, what is this? You're acting like Eeyore bullshit.
I am Eeyore. He's my spirit animal.
Yeah, that's fair. We have discussed that before on here, probably.
Oh, bother.
Oh bother! I, it's funny. We always say "oh bother" when we're talking about ER, but I think it was actually Pooh that said "oh bother."
Oh, he said it too.
He might have. It's been a long time since I've seen the cartoons.
He also said Autobots roll out.
No, nobody ever said that except for people who are in Transformers and fans of it.
Yeah, and Eeyore.
Oh, sure, man. Whatever.
He
Don't
did.
e- don't even get me started on Transformers right now. I love Transformers, but I am not happy with WotC Transformers.
All right,
All right.
so you are hyped for Dragonlance.
Well, you said you had info or something to talk about on it, and that got me hyped about it. And let me
Yeah.
let me rephrase. I am not even remotely hyped for 5e Dragonlance, not even partially. But I'm hyped to talk about it. So
So, I'm trying to find the article that I found before. But essentially, it comes down to this: the book is 250 pages ish.
okay,
Okay,
so it's one book, not three.
one book. Yeah, 220 ish pages of it is the adventure, the Shadow of the Dragon Queen, and the remaining pages, which is like a single chapter, is the new feats, the new spells, the new items, okay, and all the lore you need to run Dragonlance.
So no lore at all is what they're pulling.
So no lore at all. There are a couple new spells, but I think it's only like one or two, and it has to do with the new subclass. They're lunar moon-based spells
Well,
because the new
there
subclass.
there are multiple archetypes. Like the wizards have I say that they probably just made it into one, even though it's technically three archetypes. I haven't seen the book. I haven't actually read it because
All right,
there's the red robes, the gray robe. No, sorry, white robes, red robes, black robes, which should be three archetypes. But they probably just threw them all under lunar sorcerer, lunar wizard, whatever the hell they threw it under.
there's a lunar sorcerer. Everything else is feats.
No Knights of Solamnia
That's a feat.
should be an archetype. Well,
I mean,
thank you, WotC, for continuing to fail horribly. What is that? Is that three in a row now? Strixhaven, Spelljammer was a complete and utter letdown, and well, Dragonlance is sounding like a complete and utter letdown.
I just don't think that the scope that is Dragonlance that you've talked. Oh, and a new race, and the new races.
Oh,
Uh,
the
whatever the stealing people are.
Steely people?
Yeah, they steal things.
Oh, the Kinder. Yeah,
Yeah, Kender. Yeah, they steal stuff.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
they borrow it.
steal stuff.
Yeah, so they give us nothing. Well, at least I can save my money.
Well, it's what it's disappointing because like if they wanted this to be a brand new setting, most of the book needed to be everything about the setting, the history, because no one I know plays Dragonlance or has played Dragonlance. All these old school guys who are still sitting on their second edition books. and know the knowledge of Dragonlance are going to continue to play Dragonlance.
Yeah.
So someone like me, I don't have access to those books. I'm not going to go on to DM's Guild and buy those books. I'm gonna hope the 5e edition comes out with the new stuff that's relevant to me. But even then, from what I understand, is this story is already happened too.
What is what is the setting, like the time period? I am unsure on any of
It
that.
takes place during the War of the Lance.
So very old.
Yeah.
War of the Lance took place. That was actually like a previous war before the first three novels were written.
Yeah, so it takes place during the War of the Lance, and it has to do with Tiamat or their equivalent of Tiamat.
Okay, let's get this straight.
Okay.
While yes, there's absolute similarities between Tiamat and Takhisis, they are
Mhm.
not the same thing. Margaret, what? It was funny because I watched a video of wasn't Perkins, but it was one of the upper guys talking about Takhisis and Tiamat being the same thing, and literally within an hour, Margaret Weiss, the person who created Dragonlance, tweeted, "They are not the same person." So,
Because you could have fooled me because the artwork is absolutely 100% the Tiamat
well,
figure they just released.
the 5e will be for sure. Yeah, the 5e artwork and everything will almost certainly be that because that's what WotC is pushing it as. But if you look at the original artworks, they're not the same. But anyway, that's a minor thing.
Um, so there's just a lot of stuff that like it feels like this needs to be a couple of books. Now I'm going just off of people who've already gotten the books and looked at the books, and I'm only reading the articles that they're providing us.
Yeah,
And it's kind of all resonating the same way, is that this is mostly just an adventure book that has nothing to do with the history or lore or the setting of Dragonlance. It's talked about very briefly. So if you're big into Dragonlance, this is going to be a great book for you to play Dragonlance 5th edition, because you know everything that needs to be done. You know how to set this setting appropriately. For me, I can't. I don't. I can't spend years learning what the hell a Kender is, and how that's different and what makes them different when they're not telling me what makes them different or what makes them special. I don't know how dwarves and elves react in this setting.
yep,
I don't know if there's minotaurs or not.
yeah. Which there absolutely are. Minotaurs have always been a Dragonlance playable race, and they are actually a seafaring race. They love sailing. They're like some of the strongest fleets in the world are Minotaur fleets.
That's news to me. And the only reason I know minotaurs and dragonlance go together is because people are arguing whether or not they have feet or hooves. And I don't know why they're arguing that.
Well, let's see. Let me look up Dragonlance Minotaur, and I want to see what the artwork is, and then that'll tell us because once again, they're not all the same. Uh, do you have feet? Can't tell in that picture. God damn it! Give me a better picture. Okay, here we go. They have feet in at least in Dragonlance. Yeah,
Because people are arguing about that.
Because Kaz the Minotaur, who his book came out in the late '80s, early '90s. I think it was early '90s, '91 or so. But he has feet, at least in the artwork. So
Yeah.
now I say that based on the artwork, but it is possible if I open the book and read it, which I've got it on my shelf, he might actually have hooves.
So I mean, like, there's just a lot of
Yes,
people questioning about different
yeah.
things with the setting, and
Real quick,
I
I'm
don't
looking at the Land of the Minotaurs, which is another book where they have hooves from the same
really.
setting. Yeah. So yeah, okay, I see the argument.
So people are arguing about it, and also like that's the only thing I see people talking about. There's a lot of people saying that the adventure is not that it's not well written. There's not a complaint about that. It's that the pacing of it is super quick, and if you make the mistake of going as fast as the book goes, your characters will die. Um, most of the encounters they say are 1 to 2 levels higher in the book than they should be. So that makes it question whether or not the stuff was actually reviewed by a playtesting team in depth.
I'm
Um,
actually kind of okay with that.
okay.
Simply because Dragonlance has always sort of been a more dangerous setting. Now, I'm not saying it's necessarily right that they did that because they. I know WotC currently cares a fuckload about balance. They balance everything
Yeah.
as hardcore as they can, and a lot of the newer players are going to be used to that balance. Especially a new DM would have a lot would struggle with that. But me personally, just knowing the setting like I do, I would be much more inclined to be all right with that.
I'm just gonna throw my players to the wolves and see what happens.
You always do anyway. I mean, you have to kill at least one of them per week, or you're not Christopher Waples.
Listen, I haven't killed anybody recently.
Did you play this week?
No.
All right then.
I played last week.
Were you played last week, didn't you? You didn't run.
No,
Oh,
no. I ran Adventures League and I ran my homebrew Waterdeep campaign thing. No one died in either of those.
okay. All right.
I mean, I
I'm
tried.
yeah. Of course you tried. I have a little Ravenloft tale for you here later on,
Okay.
since we're talking about dying or nearly dying.
Um, so not everything is negative about the Dragonlance books. The feats and how the feats level up, like you could
Yeah.
take like the squire of one of the knighthoods, and then there's another feat a couple levels later that you can take, and you get further on into the knight chapters, and you get special feats for that. Those level specific and prerequisite feats are a very popular thing. People are liking those quite a bit.
Yeah.
And people did say that the board game that you can get, and there's 3 bundles now. There's the base book, there's a collector edition book, and then there's like the bundle book, which comes with the game and a bunch of other stuff, like a DM screen and shit.
Okay.
Um, you can use the game at certain points to have wars and have it work well,
That's good.
but you don't need that because the outcome of the wars are already known because it takes place in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. We all know how they. Well, pe- honestly, I'm not even sure. I don't know a lot about the War of the Lance because there was never a setting during it
Yeah.
previously. And I own the novels. I have not finished the novels. I haven't had a chance to read them as I've been buying a lot of this stuff over the past year. But I truthfully I don't know how the War of the Lance ended. I'd imagine the good guys won, but shit, I don't know.
Bad guys won.
Could be. Does anyone really win in these scenarios? I mean,
No. It's
yeah,
war, man. War never changes.
yep. I'm glad the board game is sounds like it's all right. Knowing me, I will probably end up picking that up. As for the quote unquote adventure, no, I'm good. I'll pass. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it sounds like it's an interesting, adventure. It's always fun to fight Tiamat.
Yeah, if only Tiamat was actually in it.
I mean, I saw the picture.
Yeah, but you're talking about 5e shit. So, anyway,
I don't know. If I search for Dragonlance Tiamat, what do I get?
some assholes who don't know anything about Dragonlance talking about how Tiamat and Takhisis are the same, I'd guess.
Yeah, it pops up with Takhisis.
Yeah.
It even says Tiamat in her Dragonlance slash Kyrian incarnation is also.
I don't know.
It's
Like if you were able to ask Tolkien if let's say Gandalf and Saruman are they're the same person. Like if you were to ask him that, what do you think he would say? You're going to take the original author's word for it.
uh huh.
So Margaret Weiss, one of the two creators of Dragonlance, said that they're not the same.
So
That's the end
what
of
do
it.
you, what do you say when they take the inspiration from the works
People take
and
inspiration
then
from
create a
everything, dude.
television show based on the works that changes the lore drastically and fills in the blanks where none needed to be filled in at all, and then show that to a massive audience that gets more ratings than Game of Thrones. And now people think that X character was really X other character.
What are we even talking about now?
The Rings of Power.
Nobody watched that.
Everybody watched that.
I don't think very many people watched it. That show got lambasted terribly.
Yeah, but it's still, they still took lore and they did exactly what you said. They called somebody something else, and now that person's now eternally associated with being that.
Yeah, except you're going to have some people who are like, "Oh, that's really the case," and then you're going to have the actual fans of the work who are going to explain to them it isn't. It's going to be all it does is create strife and arguments. In
Yeah, and
all
that's,
cases, I am going to take the original creator's word on stuff like this.
but
That's
she's not publishing the book with it though. And that's
Yeah,
the problem.
she doesn't have to. She published 100 books already on it.
It doesn't matter.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
current book coming out says that Tiamat and Takhisis are the same thing.
I mean,
And
it could say it all
all the
but at once,
all
but
the people who are going to pick up this book and read it are people who have never touched Dragonlance before.
Mhm.
Okay, and they're going to get this in their head that Takhisis and Tiamat are essentially the same thing, just different worlds, universes beyond. That's the new Hasbro term, and they're going to say, "Oh, it's just Tiamat," and
yeah,
it sucks.
and
It is
they will
terrible,
be wrong.
and they're right because that's what the current book says.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is still incorrect. I mean, that's allowing anybody to just purchase whatever IP they want and completely rewrite it. And I know it
Yes,
happens all the time, but it doesn't make it right.
but it still happens.
Yeah, it happens, and it doesn't change what the original works were and what the
No, it doesn't.
original
It
the
doesn't
original
change what the
creators were.
original works are or what the original creators did. That is true. But the problem is when you have setting that's like Dungeons and Dragons, where people get to change it on the whim to whatever they want, the only thing we have to go on is the core books that are written. And unfortunately, when two core books say that Tiamat and Takhisis are the same being, that's just what it is now.
Yeah, except it once I can't say it anymore. That
You
isn't
can
the
say it as
case.
much as you want. You
You
can
know?
say it as much as you want, but the words written down saying uh, Tiamat and
I mean,
this man's Treasury of Dragons confirms that Tiamat versions of Tiamat echo across various settings. Same thing with
here's the
Bahamut.
thing. If I read something and I know
Uh-huh.
it's the first time I've ever read this, and say some books have been out for decades,
Hmm.
and I read a new book that just came out based on it, exactly like what you're talking about, and I know fucking nothing about the setting.
Uh-huh.
You're correct. I'm going to get it in my head of whatever that book says,
Hmm.
and then a fan of it, who's been a fan of it for 30 years, comes
Uh-huh.
along, and I start having a conversation with them, and they tell me other information. They're an expert on it. I barely know shit about it.
No,
I'm
there are
going
people who are like by your analogy, it's like, okay, I was a doctor in the 1850s, and
No,
this
no,
was
no, no, no,
medicine.
no, no. We're not talking about medical.
This is medicine now.
I am talking about fandom. All right.
No,
I'm talking
but
specifically fandom.
facts have changed.
No, the facts haven't
Ownership
changed.
of characters have changed. And if the new owners want to change it, they have to change it.
I can't even explain to you how wrong you are on this argument.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be right on this subject,
Good thing you're
but I
not.
have to be.
Yeah. If I met somebody who, yeah, okay, so wait. No, we are literally going on and on right now about the Final Fantasy 3 argument.
Yes.
Except we've swapped places.
No. It is
Yes,
Final Fantasy VI because it's been released as Final Fantasy VI.
it was released as
It
Final Fantasy 3 here originally. So
Yes, and then it
we
became
have
Final
swapped
Fantasy,
places.
and then it
You get
was
so angry.
re-released as Final Fantasy VI later on. So it is now, per my argument, now it's again Final Fantasy VI.
You get so angry when I refuse to acknowledge it. as that.
No, you're just not. No, you're just stopping at one point in
And
time
you
and
are
saying this is what it is.
refusing to acknowledge it. So,
No,
all right.
I acknowledged it,
No,
but you
yeah.
need to acknowledge that years later they republished it as Final Fantasy VI,
No,
and
no, no,
you're
no.
not.
When I say you refuse to
So
acknowledge it,
Tiamat and
are
Takhisis were released years ago as separate beings, but now they're being released as the same one.
right, but they are not the same one. All right, we're done with this. Moving on. Everybody's gonna stop listening if this continues.
Fair enough. Anyways, Dragonlance is great. Buy it.
Don't buy it, please. I don't want them to think that they did a good job with garbage. So, unless you really need a new a new adventure to run, but
Don't
don't
worry,
buy it.
you can wait
Don't
for the
buy it because it's
Fandelver
don't buy it
book.
because it's Dragonlance. Buy it because you need an adventure to run.
Just wait for the Fandelver book.
What book?
They're re-releasing the Fandelver as a full campaign.
All right.
That's the next adventure book. That's the last adventure book.
So they're just releasing something they already released.
Yeah. That's a full campaign book. Yeah. That's their crescendo.
Oh man. So what's that? 4 in a row? That's 4 failures in a row.
I don't know. I don't know who's written it.
That's literally a year's worth of failure for these guys. Oh my lord. Good job, Watsy.
I started running the Light of Zaxxas or the Spelljammer campaign setting book.
All right.
I base it in Waterdeep just because I'm familiar with that as a harbor town, as they want it to be. And so essentially, they want you to pick a harbor town and then have like these crystalline vines start shooting up out of the buildings and stuff, and you have to escape. And there's one captain that's like, "Yo, I want to go this way. Come with me if you want to live." And whether you go with her or not, she eventually shows up in her flying Spelljammer, which is just a galleon, and she takes you and rescues you. But if you do follow her, okay, there's a lot of like different couple, like, oh, there's a building falling on you. Deck save to not get killed. Somebody got killed.
All right.
It was actually the Thiocrine, which is pretty funny. He got crushed by a building.
Oh, so a bug got squashed by a building. Okay.
And then there's a bunch of just like, weird creatures coming out of the crystals, and you just beat them, and it's easy. It wasn't too bad. But then when you find this lady's galleon, it's tied down to the docks, and there's 8 bandits and a bandit captain who are stopping you from getting onto the ship. All right, and I don't know if this was a mistake written into the book or if they really
Wait,
wanted it
what level
to
are
be
you talking
level
about?
5.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They're level 5. So the 8 bandits and the bandit captain are not going to be that hard of a fight,
Yeah.
especially if there's a wizard with fireball. They're just gone.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. If they were level 1 and there's 8 bandits and a captain, that's a rough fight.
But they're level 5, and the players are presented a situation with the crystal vines growing out everywhere. The captain wanting to get past these bandits into the ship. The bandits are loading supplies onto the ship, and she's like, "We got to get past these guys. I knew them. They did jobs for me, but they're in the way now." So you can talk to the bandit captain and convince him to basically let you guys pass, and you would take them with you. Okay.
All right.
What would you set as the difficulty rating of this persuasion check? Again, you're level 5, 8 bandits, bandit captain, familiar with the owner of the ship. They're stealing the ship. They're loading it with supplies. The apocalypse is happening all around them. What do you set the DR?
So the world is literally collapsing around them.
I mean, yeah, there's just vines growing up and monsters coming out, and it's just the town's being destroyed completely.
All right. So what are you trying to persuade them to do again?
Either just so you can get by them to get onto the ship.
It's a galleon, man. There's 9 of them in total. You could
Again, it's a
technically.
challenge for 4 to 5 players.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying you could technically run a ship with 9 people, a galleon, I think, but man, it's going to be understaffed for sure. So honestly, I probably wouldn't even set the DR, like the challenge rate for it. I wouldn't set it that high because you're trying to convince them to let you just come on board and effectively join them for survival purposes. Maybe I don't know, a 10, a 12, like it'd be reasonably low.
Okay, because in the book it's set as a 10, and I just thought that was ridiculously stupid.
You just thought
I
it was,
don't.
you were thinking it was too low.
Yeah, they're stealing a ship from this captain who's right in front of them. Like, no, this is our ship now. Like, we're not gonna let you on. we're taking this and leaving.
Yeah,
Um, so I mean, like, I guess urgency would definitely push it down some, but I wasn't thinking 10. I was thinking like 12, 14, around that
14,
range.
14 is probably on the higher end, like 10 to 12. I think a lot of it would sort of depend on how you approach them and you know how how you
But
relay said information to them.
so I set this encounter out on the table. So I put like my ship model down. I drew a dock. I put all the bandits out there. I put the captain there. I put the group there, and they're all getting ready. Like they're prepping spells and shit.
Yeah, yep.
And one player walks up and is like, "Yo, we can all just take the ship and get out of here." I'm like, "Is that all you want to say?" He's like, "Yeah." All right, persuasion check. 36? Okay, yeah. You convince him to go. Um, and everyone just kind of like at the table are like, "What? It was that easy?"
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
sometimes it is that easy.
yeah, yeah, it really is. And they just fly away on this. On the, I mean, the bandits thought it was a ship, you know. So when the captain gets on and she summons her like little flump that she has that wearing an admiral hat, and he hops into the Spelljammer seat and runs away with the ship, they fly away and everything's hunky dory. It was just it had this big apocalyptic buildup to just like, okay, let's all go together. Yay. I don't know. It was great. The moment at the table with the bandit captain just went like, all right, yeah, cool.
Yep,
Come aboard. I
come
don't
on
know.
in.
It just made me laugh. I just thought I was like, why is it a 10?
Yeah, but
It
that's
feels way too low for me.
yeah. I think that's why I was asking. Yeah, sort of the scenario, like what is actually going on, matters a lot for stuff like that.
True.
Um, because if they were, if they were in the process of just stealing the ship, and then you tried to steal the ship out from under them, yeah, that's going to be way harder. Like an 18 or something. But just everybody trying to escape, probably fairly low, I would think.
But I love the players just like they're like, oh shit, here we go again. We're gonna have to kick some ass. And then
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, okay. We ended an hour early because the final battle didn't happen.
Wow. Don't see that too often.
No, like I didn't. I mean, it makes sense that they'd be easy to convince. I agree with you there. It's just I didn't think 10 would be easy to convince.
Yeah, you're just thinking it'd be a little more challenging.
Yeah,
So I'm
uh,
trying to find something.
can't
Uh,
find it. So I went to the LARP this weekend,
yeah.
and the final battle on the weekend uh, was a seven-headed Nether Hydra. So I guess for non-LARP players, this equivalent for the setting would basically be like a seven-headed like necrotic Hydra would be.
It's way worse than necrotic.
It's way worse than necrotic. Yeah. Um, I got hit with a an elemental blast nether, so the double damage to living creatures. So that hurt a lot.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
150 damage.
damage.
So just in D&D terms, that's just like a max strength fireball. Yeah, it's just the worst thing. That doesn't even do it justice how much damage that is.
And in our game, the average spellcaster caps out at 10 hit points.
Yeah,
A,
I'm a
f- a
hu- I,
fully leveled up fighter maxes out on 75 body.
yeah.
And I
Think
took
think
150.
of me as think of me as a 20th level D&D wizard, because that's effectively what I am, and that's just a one shot. I'm dead. It's just straight up kill me.
Yeah, that dropped me. I did actually get disintegrated by the Hydra at the very end. I was fighting it. I was fighting the last head. It was just me fighting the last head. I was getting backpacked. I was getting healed. And the thing was just like, oh, disintegrate. I was like, all right,
Yep.
thank you.
D&D players do know how disintegrate works.
Yeah. Finger of death, you're dead. Ain't coming back.
Pretty much.
But it was a good little story. I really liked it. Um, but yeah, I really liked the whole like I'm a very big fighter in the game, literally and figuratively. And it's just good to know that even no matter how big you can get in the game, sometimes just something can take you out in one hit. It doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what level you are. There's always going to be that one monster out there who can just wreck you, and you can't be too cocky. You always got to be careful, no matter what level you are. I was looking up big monsters, and I'm gonna butcher the name of this creature, and let me get its stats up. Marut, I think.
All right.
Marut.
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't know anything about it.
So Marut is a nigh unstoppable. Um, is the nigh unstoppable and inevitables serve a singular purpose. They enforce contracts forged in the Hall of
Oh,
Coordinates
yes,
in a
I know
city
all
of
about these
Sigil.
guys. Yeah.
Primus, the leader of the Modrons, created Maruts and their inevitables to bring order to dealings between planar folk. And a wide array of disparate creatures, including Yugoloths, will enter into a contract with inevitables if asked. This is a terrible thing. Essentially, these things are made to hunt down people who
Break
renege
deals.
on contracts
Yeah.
and or hunt greater liches. And I found this creature because someone was complaining about this monster that the DM sent him against that could just it always hit no matter what. And I was like, what the hell is this? I haven't heard of this before. And yeah, this thing is a CR 25 monster, and it has multi attack. And so the multi attack is it makes 2 slam attacks, and the slam attack is called unerring slam. What melee weapon attack, reach 5 feet, automatic hit, one target, 60 force damage, and the target is pushed up to 5 feet away.
Yep.
So it doesn't. You don't roll for damage. You don't roll the hit. It just hits, and you take 60 damage. Enjoy.
Yeah, I was trying to find if there was a third edition version of it. I think there is. Uh,
I think so.
yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it could create what is it a 60-foot cube, and every creature in the area takes 45 radiant damage, and then it has to survive a DC 20 Wisdom saving throw or be stunned until the end of the Marut's next turn. So essentially, it just makes this giant cube, stuns you, walks over and punches you right in the face. um, it can understand all languages and speak all languages, but it rarely speaks. It's got a mutable form, innate spell casting, magic resistance, legendary resistances. It can plane shift by itself. And then its also last ability is called Justify. Any creature that stays within 60 feet must succeed a DC 20 Charisma saving throw, or be teleported to a teleportation circle in the Hall of Coordinates in Sigil. A target automatically fails if it's incapacitated. Um, so pretty much it just sends the bad guys back home to be
So,
punished.
so in the one of the previous campaigns that I was playing in, we were epic level, but lower end epic level, 22nd level maybe. And I don't remember all the details. It's been several years, but I know that we were in negotiations in Sigil, and there was multiple Maruts standing around in the room because the negotiations were between us and a guy that we really wanted to kill, and
You
none
please
of
get me
us.
kill him.
Yeah, like we really wanted to kill him, but none of us were really willing to try and tangle with those things. And I mean, honestly, yeah, you don't really want to tangle with those things. They're nasty.
I mean, they're a construct, so and you could definitely beat them eventually. They got a lot of hit points even for fifth edition standards.
It's the
But
fact
it's
that somebody's taking 120 damage per round, period.
period. Yeah.
If they just do their attack, somebody's just taking 120 damage. Unless it's a barbarian and they might take half. Actually, I think it's force even.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
force.
yeah, so
So yeah, and it can fly, it can hover. So
yep.
I don't know. I kind of want to play this. Like I think this would be a great good villain monster too. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably get to see them whenever they release the Planescape adventure next year or whenever the hell it is.
Ah,
Because it
no
won't.
Tiamat.
Yeah, because it actually won't be it won't be a book on lore or anything about the unlimited amounts of doors in Sigil. They're not even going to mention that. But I'm sure it'll have a nice little adventure that you can run through, and maybe some. I don't know. Maybe they'll release Asamir as a playable race. Who knows? But
I don't
yeah,
know. I was looking up really cool monsters, and that one came up, and the brain creature that I talked about a few times has come up. Um, I really want to bring that into an adventure.
uh,
Like I want to.
so one thing I've been doing, we're heavily leaning towards advanced 5e coming up in the near future.
Yeah.
Everybody in my play groups just burned on basic D&D at this point, so we're looking for more stuff. So I've started going back through all of the player's handbook that they released and some other stuff. But one of the things that I've never seen the last time I went through here is this thing called customizing armaments, and I kind of like this idea. And the idea is that you just take basic pieces of weaponry or armor and have alterations made to them. And it does take like a master smith to do this kind of stuff, of which they actually have good smithing rules and stuff in the setting. And it's typically an edition costs a minimum of 50 gold or the full cost of the base item, whichever is higher, just to get the stuff done to it. But some of the stuff they have on here is things like camouflaged armor, which is kind of cool. And it just gives you you get, in this case, you get an expertise die on stealth checks while wearing camouflaged armor if it's the
Yeah.
correct terrain that you're in. Uh, Expertise dice in this is basically you just add a d4 to your stealth roll.
Very
They
cool.
have, yeah, there's the flamboyant, which is a weapon, and creatures have disadvantage on saving throws made to resist being distracted by this weapon, and it gives you advantage on intimidation or performance checks made to use it. Let's see. There's quick draw. If you would normally only be able to draw one of these in a turn, you can instead draw a number equal to the number of attacks you make. So for somebody who's using throwing weapons or daggers, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Rebounding. This is my favorite one because you can actually just play Captain America. It's for thrown weapons and shields only. If you make a ranged attack with this weapon or shield, you may make the attack with disadvantage. If you hit, it returns to your hand.
Huh.
So anyone who's ever wanted to play Captain America, there you go. I don't know how they actually make a rebounding shield, but whatever. Uh,
I never understood that too. And this is like a world building problem that I have with Captain America's shield. It's made out of vibranium, right?
which means it doesn't vibrate.
Which means it doesn't vibrate, which means the molecules inside of it don't react. So if it can't vibrate, it means molecules can't redirect force.
Yeah.
So if you throw it against the wall, it should hit the wall and just fall straight down.
Yes.
So how does it bounce back to you?
It is. because Captain America is that goddamn good with it.
But yet Falcon, who's a specially trained human being without any enhancements at all whatsoever, can also do it.
I hope they have him throw it in the movie at some point. He expect it to come back and then it doesn't.
He throws it in the show.
No, I know, I know. I'm just saying in the upcoming movie that they're the one that comes out next year. Just have a couple of mishaps, where he expects things to happen that don't. He didn't get the soldier super serum.
Yeah.
He's not Steve Rogers. Uh, let's see. They have a couple other ones that are kind of cool. They have spiked armor. If something's grappling you, it takes piercing damage. Stealthy, and then storage compartments. My favorite one that I mentioned though is the camouflaged one. So you hear camouflage and you're thinking, okay, they make leather armor into some sort of a ghillie suit or something. No, no, I would do camouflaged in full plate mail. Like, yeah, you ever see the giant pickup trucks that are painted camouflage? That's what I would be. Just walking around in camouflage plate mail.
You ever seen the videos of people who have Transformers costumes that actually transform into one thing or another?
Yeah, I've seen a few of
So the plate mail, like the full plate camouflage stuff, is him basically just folding up and to look like a barrel.
them. Yes, yes, that's fantastic.
I'm a box.
You can't see me. I'm a bush. Uh, One other thing that I came across in this, and this is something that people could utilize with their own standard D&D games, is materials. And I'm a little surprised they haven't done any of this with 5e. And there's probably some homebrew supplement that has it. But materials, the different types of stuff for making weapons and armor. Like there's an actual list they have in here for things like adamantine, bone, bronze, cloth, cold iron, hide, iron, leather, mithril, silver, steel, stone, and wood. But then it actually has the DCs to repair this stuff, what's required to repair it, the weight, the cost, and the actual properties of the material. So, like adamantine, it's 1.5 times as heavy as uh, normal steel. Effectively, costs 4 times as much. It has the properties of hardy and low maintenance, which I'd have to look those up because those are new things for Advanced 5e. Um, and the DC to repair it is 25, and it also requires smith tools and access to a forge.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and like they have all of that information for every single one of these materials because we've complained a little bit about it before over the years about 5e not having crafting at all. Like it's pretty much non-existent. And I, as a player, I actually like making my own stuff. Yeah, I don't think many of the newer players are going to understand that this is a thing since it's not in 5e. But the ability to actually craft your own armor and weapons and magic items, it's kind of a cool thing that could be fun. Could add a lot to yeah, to a campaign.
I think a lot can be added to the campaign, but or to a homebrew world. I don't know much campaign. Like if I had to stop and like every single place I go, like a Frost Maiden or Waterdeep, I have to create a brand new crafting system for that area. I think I'd go insane.
Yeah. I don't think you'd have to create one for every single location. Like it's already here in front of me. Everything's here.
No, you'd have to go through. I mean, for Waterdeep would be pretty easy because you pretty much have all the materials coming in
Yeah. If
and
if you're
going
if
out.
you're an Icewind Dale, I would say add like double whatever their cost is on here. So adamantine would be 8 times the cost as opposed to 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I get that, but nothing else on there would really change other than the cost to get it. And you, as the DM, can always determine if it's even accessible. Adamantine, a lot of the metals in Icewind Dale would be accessible just because you have the dwarven town right nearby.
But here's the thing: they didn't give any information about the dwarven town.
Yeah, I know.
It's called the Valley of the Dwarves. Good luck.
Yep. Yeah, that's one where you have to have actually read the novels, all of the Driss novels, and you know all about it. And yeah, they're a bunch of miners. They live in a mountain. But if you haven't read that, you wouldn't know that.
Wait, what do you mean they live in a mountain? They live in the valley.
No, they live inside the mountain.
What mountain?
Eh, Well, now the mountain is in the campaign because they actually have that on the map.
They live in the valley.
No, they live. Never mind. I'm done with this. They live under the mountain.
They live in a valley. It says Valley of the Dwarves. They wouldn't
Is,
call it
is
the
that
Valley
is
of the
that
Dwarves.
is that literally what they call it?
Yeah,
Really? I don't even remember that.
yeah.
Uh,
Why were they called the Valley of the Dwarves when the dwarves don't live there? And it's not called Dwarves live under the Melton Cairn. It's called Kelvin's Cairn. Because
yeah,
Kelvin lived there.
Yeah. Kelvin's Cairn was the name of it. I can't.
And
Shit.
then there's the Valley of the Dwarves.
I'm trying to actually find what the name of the village or the city was. Huh. Orvan Valley. That's what they call it on the wiki, apparently. It
I
doesn't say.
know.
No. I could have sworn it had a name, but hell, I could be wrong.
Dwarven Valley.
Oh well. Well, that's
Yeah,
where clan. That's where
major.
I was gonna say that's where Clan Battlehammer is from. I know that much. So
Yep. Major, well-known city of dwarves. Not an ounce of it talked about at all in Frostmaiden.
yeah,
Granted, they were only like the first quest in the book.
yeah. Like they never really utilized or involved the dwarves whatsoever in that campaign.
Yeah.
Oh well. So anyway, last thing I wanted to chat about was the Ravenloft campaign that I'm playing in.
Uh-huh.
All right, so we are third level. Pretty sure we're third level, and we had gotten a quest to help this guy's sister get from basically one end of the map to the other end of the map.
Okay.
And so we're taking her and her brother with us. Yeah, a couple of NPCs traveling along with us, of which we completely forgot about the fucking NPCs with us. Shit.
Haha.
I mean, that could make a huge fucking difference. Uh, so anyway, we're traveling along, and from everything we keep hearing is stay on the roads. Going off the roads apparently is very dangerous, very risky. So we've traveled for 4 or 5 days along the roads. Nothing major has happened. Gathered some, little information here and there. And it's almost nighttime, and we see a windmill off in the distance. And it's not really leaving the roads. It's a windmill. It's almost nighttime. So everything inside Jay is saying, "I know this is a terrible fucking idea." Everything in my character says it's a terrible idea. But at the same time, what is the point of playing an adventure if you don't take some risk? So we all agree to go and check out the windmill. You've done the Ravenloft thing? Do you remember the windmill?
I have not done Raven. I've just done the castle.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd actually gone through it. That's right. Okay. Um. Well, hashtag spoiler here. I'm gonna ruin it for you. So we get up to the windmill, go inside. Oh, I actually need to backtrack because there was one other component to this story. When we were in the first town, we met this really old lady who had meat pies and pastries for sale. So I ended up eating one of them, and basically I got addicted to them just like crack.
Uh huh.
Like if I ever see them, it's just an immediate. I have to decide whether I really want to eat that delicious fucking food because it apparently was the best thing I'd ever eaten. So anyway, we get there, we knock on the door of the windmill, nobody answers. We open it up, we hear somebody talking to themselves upstairs, some lady, and then we get the whiff of that food. So I go inside, immediately start rummaging through the cart that was parked in there to see if there's any of it on the cart. And then a couple of our other people go upstairs to start conversing with the quote unquote old lady. Needless to say, shit goes very poorly, turns into a fight very quickly, and we're level 3, and we are now facing a hag coven.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know the exact level of them. I'm not pulling it all up, but one thing I knew off the top of my head about hag covens is that they can cast lightning bolt,
Yeah.
which is really bad at level 3.
But you're not supposed to know that.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, my character didn't know shit. This is just knowledge I have. So we also didn't know it was a coven at first. The first one throws lightning bolt at us. Then two more come downstairs. Then another one throws lightning bolt at us. At this point, like half the fucking party's down. I'm downstairs, and then one of our players had to leave. So we ended the current game with 2 or 3 members on the ground. Myself, the cleric, downstairs. We have Muffin, he's playing, but he's playing a sort of neutral character who's from the area. So he's just sort of hanging outside the front door, not helping us because he's a piece of shit. Fuck you, Muffin. And then there's the 2 NPCs that we completely fucking forgot about. One of them should have been in there with us fighting.
Nope, he's out there with Muffin.
Yeah, he's hanging outside with Muffin at this point. But anyway, that's yeah, might be a TPK here very soon. Things aren't looking good.
Good. It's Ravenloft. It should be a
It
TPK.
is Ravenloft. Like I don't even care that it's happening.
Yeah.
I've
TPK
enjoyed.
all day.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed playing the character. Been doing an accent for him and everything, but
And then now he's dead.
no, I'm currently still alive. But
You're gonna die.
yeah, next time we play, probably gonna
Join the
die.
coven.
Yeah. I am unfortunately neither female nor a hag.
It just takes a dagger and will.
I mean, I might end up joining the coven as a pie. That's a possibility.
Hag pie.
Yeah, well, I'm playing the cleric, so whenever they say try the priest, that's me. That's what they're talking about.
Ugh. So I do know what we're gonna talk about next week.
All right, I'm all ears.
I got my Kickstarter in for Ouroboros.
Oh, finally, okay.
Finally, yeah. So I get to read all that stuff over my week-long Thanksgiving break, and hopefully have some good information about it. Hopefully they
I'm,
fix all the grammar problems and
yeah,
formatting
there were
problems.
a lot of those, but overall, like when we flipped through it, I liked the idea of the setting. There was some really cool stuff in
Yeah,
there.
you guys can do that instead of Advanced 5e.
No, no, we already have our own campaigns and stuff going on.
Oh,
Um, I did like some of the ideas from it though. What was it?
you
Was it?
just don't want to play a salamander.
I would totally play a salamander. I would absolutely just be a trippy hippie salamander. That's straight up what I'd be. Either that, or I would be. What was it? Dwarves or elves that were hanging off of the cliffs by
The
ropes?
dwarves. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, dwarves who have a much shorter life expectancy than they should have. That's right.
Yep. So I'm definitely gonna be reading that a lot, and I'll have some stuff to actually talk about it next week. What I
Cool.
like and what I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, we did a couple of long ass videos on it.
Yeah. Well, I'm more interested in the story and the lore because I know they have a five-headed dragon called Tiamat in it, and I want to see if that's just like Tiamat.
Well, it's just Takhisis. I mean, that's
No, it's
all it is.
Tiamat.
Yeah, which is Takhisis.
Five-headed dragon dog. Tiamat.
Is it Tiamat like Mutt?
I don't know. I'm just making shit up.
Oh, okay. I was hoping that was a real thing. It's actually Tiamat. It's actually just a 5-headed dog, and it's like all breeds of dogs. Like, just you got your little mutt dog. One of them's a dachshund. One of them's a German Shepherd. Got your corgi. What would the fifth one
Uh,
be?
Chihuahua.
Yeah, fucking Chihuahua. That's the one that it always talks shit and starts fights.
One of my favorite memes is the King Ghidorah dragon heads. where you have the three heads and the left one and the center one are drawn kind of like realistic and mean looking, and then the third one on the right is all like derpy
Yeah,
with a
yeah,
derpy face.
has the googly eyes.
Yeah,
Yep.
because it's actually always been that way. If you've watched like the old Godzillas with King Ghidorah, the two main heads are the ones that would have had like the two the actor actually controlling those two
Right.
parts,
The third
and the
one's
third
just
one was
sort of
just done by
attached.
wire, just kind of like bouncing around. So it's always kind of just been like an in joke that the left head the left side the head on the left side was always just derpy as shit.
Yep.
And they brought that over into the new movie too, because that's the one that's just kind of like, I don't want to fight anything. No,
Yeah.
I don't want to fight Godzilla. No, I want to fly away.
I love Godzilla movies. I actually I bought one a couple days ago. Godzilla versus Gigan.
Gigan,
Yeah, Gigan, whatever.
Gigan,
Yeah, Gigan.
the Mars robot. Yeah,
All right. Well, I don't have anything else for this recording. I think we're done here.
I want to talk about Godzilla more.
Oh, we can just do that off air.
Oh,
That's fine. We'll go play some Overwatch and then we'll talk Godzilla.
okay.
All right. Later, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye, Craig.